It's Penny and the professor. Here's Penny.
Hi everybody, hi Penny. So this is our deep dive time, but it's also a time where we're going to fill out our knowledge journal. Do you guys remember all the way back in lesson 5 when we filled out our knowledge journal about My Five Senses by Margaret Miller? We filled in all of the things that we know, all the things that we know, and all of the things that we can do. And so we had one side of our journal that said what I know. And we had the other side of our journal that said what I can do. And so we did this book for lesson 5, and we did an amazing job on that as a class. So let me put that book back over here. There we go, on the shelf. And today we're going to fill out our knowledge journal about My Five Senses. Oh my gosh, I just realized Penny isn't wearing her swimsuit. Penny, why aren't you wearing your swimsuit? It's deep dive time. Oh, I see. So Penny really likes to wear her Halloween dress because it's almost Halloween time. So I guess she has a point. I have my Halloween shirt on too that says B-O-O, boo. So I guess we're just wearing our Halloween stuff today for deep dive time. Well, here we go. So My Five Senses by Aliki is one of those amazing stories that has a lot of things in it that helped us learn. So we took a deep dive into lots of different parts of the book. We did a deep exploration, and I think that we learned some things that we know now that we didn't know before we read this book. So does anybody have any ideas of what we could put on the what I know side of our journal? I'll give you guys a minute to think about it. And Penny, I'll give you guys a minute too. What do we know now that we could put new information on the left side of our journal where it says what I know? That's right, Penny. I think that's perfect. So Penny said one of the things that we learned from this book by Aliki is that we can use one sense, two senses, or all of our senses at a time. So we can use some of our senses, or we can use one sense, or we can use all of our senses. So I think we'll write we can use one, some, or all of our senses. That would make sense, okay? What else did we learn? Oh, Cassie? Cassie has an idea. Let me grab Cassie. She's kind of yelling in her ladybug voice over here. Yes, that's a great one, Cassie. So Cassie said something that she learned that she learns now that she knows it, is that our senses make us aware. So that's really an interesting idea. They make us aware and focused and aware of what's happening around us, right? So that's a great one. So I think we'll put that up there too. For what I know, we'll put our senses make us aware. So we have two things that we know. Let's think about what we can do now. What did we do in this book that we can do now that maybe we didn't know how to do before? What do you guys think? Oh, that's a good one. Penny, that was a great one. So Penny said we learned how to use text evidence. Yeah, that's a good one. So we learned how to use text evidence, and we practiced organizing our text evidence. So that's something we can do. We can use text evidence. That's a great one. We'll put that up under what I can do. And then, oh, Cassie, that was a good one too. So Cassie remembers when we did something called annotating our illustrations. And you might not remember it as being called annotate our illustrations, but what we did do is we put sticky notes. Remember when we put a sticky note on the ice cream? Because the illustration had the details of the ice cream, but the words didn't say the word ice cream. That's called annotating in our book, to show what the pictures, when the pictures said more than the words. So we got more details and interesting information from the picture than we did from the words, and we were able to annotate that by putting a sticky note there. So we'll put annotate illustrations. I think that's a great one. Thank you, Cassie. Oh yeah, we could answer that real quick for you. So Cassie wants to know if we've answered her question. How does My Five Senses build our knowledge about the senses? And I think that we have answered that. This book, My Five Senses, builds our knowledge about the five senses because it tells us so much more information. Now we know all about how this boy uses his senses to learn about the world around him. So reading this text helped us learn more about the five senses and about how other people use their senses to learn about the world. It also made us know that the boy uses his senses to be aware, which is really great. And then there was just full of so much information. So now I think we're ready. Let's take our quick deep dive into the fifth sense. Do you guys remember how we've taken a deep dive into those sensory adjectives? Well, the one we've missed so far is hearing. So we've taken a deep dive with sensory adjectives into taste and smell and sight and touch. I would really like to hear what you guys, there's a helicopter. Wow, perfect timing. Helicopter's going over and I'm talking about the sense of hearing and I heard a helicopter. Perfect. So let's think about what kind of helicopter it was because we need a sensory adjective to go with the helicopter. So I hear a helicopter is a great sentence. But what if I want to say, I hear a thumping helicopter? Did you guys hear how it goes thup, 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 thup? Or if you've ever heard a helicopter go over your house before, you might have heard that. I don't know if you could hear it on the camera, but I could hear it out my window and it sounded like a thumping helicopter. So it sounded like that's what it sounded like. Crazy. So I heard a thumping helicopter. Thumping would be a adjective, a sensory adjective for how I hear it. I hear the door open downstairs sometimes to my daughter's bedroom, so she'll open the door and I could say I hear the door open, or I could acknowledge that it's a squeaky door and I actually hear it squeak when she opens the door and squeak when she closes the door. So I could say, what could I say? What kind of word could I use? That's a good one. Thanks, Penny. I could say, I hear a squeaky door, and that would be a sensory word we could use for hearing a door open. Today, I'd like you to think of something that you hear in your world, and in the discussion, tell us using a sensory adjective for the sense of hearing. So what do you hear and how does it sound? Does it sound squeaky? Does it sound loud? Does it sound like a thumping sound? Does it sound like a scratching sound? Does it sound like a whomping sound? Using sensory adjectives for things that we hear can be really fun. I cannot wait to see what you guys tell us about in the discussion. What do you hear and how does it sound? We'll see you guys later for lesson 11 and have an amazing day. Bye.